I'd like to call the meeting to order for Monday night, February 6th, 2017. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Dennis Moody will lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come back together and go over the business of the city of Dyersburg. We thank you for your many blessings. We ask you to watch over us, guide us, and direct us. Be with those in our community that have lost loved ones. We've lost several these past few days and weeks. Be with those families and comfort them. Be with those that are sick. And watch over us, guide us, direct us. These things we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Mr. Recorder, please show all in attendance tonight. Next item on the agenda will be approval of minutes from December 19th. Entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Motion from Kevin Chaney. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Robert Taylor Jr. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? New business, number 7, new business. We have 4 notices of public hearings. First one's notice of public hearing, February 21st, 2017, an ordinance of the city of Dyersburg, Tennessee, appropriating funds for the Dyersburg City School System for the fiscal year July 1, 2016 through June 30, 2017. The second one's a notice of public hearing to be held February 21st, 2017, an ordinance to amend the Dyersburg municipal zoning map to rezone property near South Tennyson Road, B Mill Road, and Court Street from B2 General Trade and Services District to M2 Medium Industrial District. The third one, notice of public hearing to be held February 21st, 2017, an ordinance to amend the Dyersburg municipal zoning map to rezone property near St. John Avenue and Morgan Road from R1, which is low density residential district, to B2 General Trade and Services District. And the fourth one, notice of public hearing February 21st, 2017, request from Craig Berrien to appeal a rezoning request that was denied by the Dyersburg Regional Planning Commission on November 10th, 2016. I think it's a tax map ID, parcel Calvin Moore Road. Would entertain a motion to approve these notices of public hearings to be held at our next board meeting.
So moved, all of them.
Motion from Bob Kirk. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill Eskew. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, attorney invoice that was attached. Attorney invoice in the amount of $8,118.75. I'd entertain a motion to approve that. Motion from Mike Morgan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Kevin Chaney. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Bids, Greg Williams.
Bid I have tonight for the police department for a side-by-side utility vehicle to be used for community events, rescue missions, and access to remote areas. This is a 100% covered JAG grant to the police department. Notification was given to the State Gazette and direct to 3 vendors. The vendor bids range from $14,802 to $13,500. And this is a duplicate order from the bid that was made in September for the Water Sewer Department. So I recommend awarding the bid to Outer Limits Power Sports of Dyersburg for $13,500.
Further recommendation, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion from Dennis Moody, second from Robert Taylor Jr. Any discussion?
Is y'all covered by grant?
100%.
100%.
100% JAG grant covered.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thanks, Craig. Next item on the agenda, Street and Sanitation Committee meeting minutes from January 30th, 2017. Chairman Mike Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. The Street and Sanitation Committee met Monday, January 30th at 10 a.m. in the City Hall second floor conference room. Members present included Mayor John Holden, Bill Eskew, Kevin Chaney, and Chairman Mike Morgan. Other aldermen and board members were Bob Kirk and Terry Glover. Staff and others present were John Damesworth, Street and Sanitation, Greg Williams, Purchasing Agent, Brandon Hutchison with State Gazette, Mike McCullough, Street and Water Department, Steve Anderson, Treasurer, Thomas Mullins, Kevin Johnson with Code Enforcement. Chairman Morgan opened the meeting with prayer. The committee convened to discuss curbside pickup policies. The following items were taken under discussion. Number one, proposed ordinance revisions provided by the city attorney as previously directed by the committee regarding the Uniform Property Maintenance Codes. Review of the status of the 2013 Dyersburg curbside pickup regulation for residents. Review of timelines associated with notices and court citations. Court recognition of the city judge in supporting the city on violations of the Uniform Property Maintenance Code. And review of sanitation practices and fees in other cities in West Tennessee. The committee discussed a variety of potential solutions to improve the services provided by curbside pickup. Mayor Holden noted his preference for the 2013 curbside regulations. The committee agreed that the 2013 regulations were sound in design for the service to this community. Alderman Cheney made a motion to re-implement the 2013 Dyersburg curbside pickup regulation for residents, noting that the bulky item pickup time frame will be changed from the first 2 weeks of each quarter to weekly pickup. He included in the motion to adopt the amendment for the Uniform Property Maintenance Code and establish fees to enforce the policies of the ordinance. The motion was seconded by Alderman Bill Askew and received full committee approval. The recommendation will be presented to the full board and Mayor of Alderman tonight. In other business, the committee heard an update on the landfill study by MTAS. No further actions were taken by the committee, and the meeting adjourned at 11 a.m.
Thank you, Mike. And that revision was actually presented at the local government committee meeting on Friday. I think Alderman Cheney will read that and maybe take some action then. So the next item, any questions about that? Next item on the agenda, local government committee meeting minutes from February 3rd, 2017. Chairman Kevin Cheney.
Thank you, Mayor. The local government committee met Friday, February 3rd, 2017, at 11 a.m. in the second floor conference room at City Hall. Committee members present: Kevin Cheney, Mayor John Holden, Terry Glover, and Dennis Moody. Other aldermen present: Bob Kirk. Staff and others present: Steve Anderson, Treasurer, Greg Williams, Purchasing Agent, Kevin Joslin and Thomas Mullins, Code Enforcement, Brandon Hutchison, State Gazette, Mike Goff, Wastewater Treatment Superintendent, Kelly Noel, Collections Manager, John Lanham, Christine Coronado, City Attorneys, Dyersburg Fire Chief, Tim Ware, Scott Ball, City Stormwater, and Construction Inspector. Chairman Cheney opened the meeting with the following agenda. Letter from Gary Farley regarding seismic protection requirements. Mayor Holden presented a letter of response before the committee as a result of the recent audit by the State Fire Marshal's Office pursuant to the Board of Aldermen's exempting the seismic requirements and new span table requirements regulated within the 2015 International Residential Codes. The letter's quite lengthy, but basically it states that we've either got to go back to the code or adopt our own code to replace it. The committee discussed the necessary actions to comply with the findings of the State Fire Marshal's Office. Alderman Terry Glover made a motion to create a compliance plan and authorize the city codes enforcement staff to assist in the process procuring the services of the city engineer, SSR, in the design of the compliance plan. The motion was seconded by Alderman Dennis Moody. The motion passed and will be recommended for approval to the board and Mayor Alderman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the codes enforcement staff to proceed with this plan.
Okay, a motion from Kevin Cheney. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Terry Glover. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Update on Dyersburg elevator complaint. We got a letter from the Division of Air Pollution Control There's no violations so far in meeting standards, and they will be back and retest this periodically in this. And Mr. Lanham also stated he would review city ordinances for any violations of zoning or noise compliance by the Dyersburg elevator, and no action was taken. Discussion of a request for a beer permit that allows on-premises consumption of premises consumption in the ordinance provision for definition of beer to comply with the new Tennessee state law. Mayor Holden provided the committee with the following information. The city received a request from an individual who represents a business permit to allow both on-premises and off-premises consumption of beer. Mr. Lanham reviewed the current ordinance provision with potential considerations. The ordinances were changed to accommodate the request. The committee determined the best action at this time was to review the ordinances provisions and from other communities addressing similar requests. The committee noted the required ordinance changes mandated by the state effective January 1, requiring cities to amend their ordinance regarding the noted weighted alcohol changes from 5% to 8%. The committee decided to coordinate the two issues in the future ordinance revisions after further review of on-premises and off-premises consumption of beer by other cities. Excuse me. The transient vendor ordinance, we don't need to take any action on the beer.
No, we've already found a couple of cities that allow that. We're getting copies of their ordinances for our review as we discuss this further.
Okay, thank you. The transient vendor ordinance. In previous local government meetings in November 2016, the committee asked the city attorneys to present an outline for how transient vendors operate in the city. At the meeting, the committee asked Attorney John Lanham to review the outline again and make it stronger. Mr. Lanham presented an updated draft of a transient vendor ordinance before the committee. The meeting was heavily attended by vendors who expressed their opinions regarding the proposed transient vendor ordinances. After significant discussion and debate, the motion was made by Dennis Moody to accept an ordinance with the conditions of the modification of setbacks, replacing with the language to be off the state right-of-way, and elimination section 9206, number 1. The motion was seconded by Alderman Terry Glover. The motion passed and will be recommended for approval, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. And at this time, I'd like to recommend that we approve this, and I make a motion to do so.
Okay, so we got a recommendation to approve this, and actually what we're approving is a notice of public hearing tonight, because it does affect the ordinance change that if we can give notice tonight, and it'll be probably the 1st of March before we can properly advertise it in the next meeting. So if that can be your motion.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got a motion to call for a public hearing to address the transient vendor ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
A second from Dennis Moody. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, and on the curbside policy, Mr. Thomas Mullins presented the curbside sanitation pickup policy. On a motion by Chairman Chaney, the committee approved the ordinance as revised, noting adding the changes to specific fees noted in the schedule of fees. The motion was seconded by Alderman Dennis Moody, and the motion passed and will be recommended for approval of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen. So my motion is that we go back to the 2013 policy that we passed, and then we add the $350 fee to the schedule of fees for.
That's right. That's right. And I think all this is going to be rolled into the ordinance for that rolled into our current ordinance for the enforcement of that. and the changes we made. So again, this will be a notice of public hearing to be held and then properly advertised because it affects the ordinance change as well. So if that could be your motion to
Yes.
incorporate all that together. Okay, we have that motion from Kevin Cheney. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mike Morgan. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
The next one is ordinance appropriating funds for the Dyersburg City School System as requested by the State of Tennessee Comptroller's Office. Mayor Holden and Treasurer Steve Anderson presented the required ordinance before the committee for their approval. Alderman Dennis Moody motion to approve the ordinance as presented. The motion was seconded by Mayor Holden. The motion passed and will be recommended for approval at the Mayor and Board of Aldermen. We need to set that for a public hearing or make a motion on it?
Well, we did that under item 7A, the notice of public hearing for February 21st, the ordinance for the city of Dyersburg. So we've done that already.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and further business, Mr. Scott Ball presented an approval for a resolution of a community block development grant for the city under the National Disaster Resilience Competition. Alderman Terry Glover, Dennis Moody motion to approve the ordinance as presented. The motion was seconded by Mayor Holden. The motion passed and will be recommended for approval with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. And again, make the motion to approve this grant.
Have a motion for the resolution of the National Disaster Resilience Grant. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Robert Taylor Jr. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
With no further business, the meeting adjourned at 1 p.m. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, report from Alderman Bob Kirk.
I don't have anything, Mayor, thank you.
Bill Eskew.
I got a question. Are we gonna, on this new seismic, proposed seismic, or change to the seismic requirement, are we gonna have the opportunity to review that before we pass anything on it?
Yeah, I think at the meeting Friday, we discussed getting some sample floor plans and drawings from maybe our engineer, and then have a committee meeting again to discuss that before we present anything to the state. But we got a deadline of February 28th to get that done.
Okay. I don't have anything else.
Okay, Mr. Glover?
A quick note, we have on April 1, James Counts being presented to the, be inducted into the Hall of Fame, Tennessee Hall of Fame. I think the last one we've had associated with Dyersburg was Ike Field III, or Ike Field Jr. It had a junior go, but that's been several years ago. So anyone that would like to go, that's in Murfreesboro. And I have a form for some tickets if somebody needs that.
All right, thank you. Kevin?
Quite an honor.
Yeah, Mayor, one thing, in Friday's local government committee meeting, there was some pretty heated discussion in there about, I had a conflict of interest, was still owning a food place here in town, and that was not true. I haven't owned that in over 2 years, so I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mike?
I have nothing.
Dennis?
Are the, understand the knuckle boom trucks, both of them were down. Are they back on schedule now?
Honestly, I don't know. I was in Nashville today with Mr. Kirk. Haven't talked to John Dainsworth, but I do know they got out last week and had taken care of some issues that were asked about from some aldermen. So I think they are, but I'll find out.
Okay. Also, just one, I know one of our faithful viewers had a birthday today, my mother. So I want to say happy birthday to her, and I hope she has many, many more.
Thank you very much. Ms. Carolyn?
Don't have anything.
Robert?
Don't have anything, Mayor.
Thank you. With that, we're adjourned.